I'm Stefan, the BMW DIY guy, and are you frustrated like me with the mounts for your action cameras? Snapmounts may be the solution, and I want to show you why. All right, y'all, so I recently had my cameras out at the track. I was out at the M Performance Center down there in Thermal, California, and I had one of my GoPros go winging off the car. The little suction cup style mount failed. I got really lucky. My camera survived even though it came off at high speed and didn't get run over by another car. But it really put a lot of doubt into me on whether or not those kind of mounts are gonna work, especially in high stress, high pressure, high torque value sort of environments. Also here in my garage with all the DIY work I do, I always have a camera at a weird angle. I'm in the engine bay, I'm underneath the car, I'm reaching up and into the exhaust or who knows what, and I'm always struggling with my camera angles and where to put my camera. I'm always trying to balance like a little tripod sitting on the ground looking up. So I started looking for other options and I found Snapmounts. Now what's different about them is they're magnetic. They have rare earth magnets throughout all of these different mounts. And so I went ahead, I have almost a full set for all of my cameras. I have 2 GoPros I use all the time, and I have sets really set up for all of them. So this one is your standard, and I love it's got a tether. This is so cool. Automatically comes with a tether. So this is their action cam mount. Now, I use GoPros all the time. You can use these really for any action cameras that have your typical camera setup here. And I'm really excited to try this out. And so I wanted to show you all the different options of what you can get because I really think they've put a lot of time into thinking about the different considerations of when and how you want to use these, even on glass, which is really, really cool. So there's some options I wanted to show you. So this is their default action camera mount. It's rare earth magnets. They're very strong. It has 2 little finger grips on each side, so when you want to take it off, your camera mounts in your typical thumb drive sort of setup, and it's even got a tether. So if it really came down to it, like for example, if you have this mounted to your bike or to the top of your car, which I'm going to do, you can always tether it down to something. So worst case scenario, this starts to move or it gets under extreme stress, the tether's gonna save it. Now, the other thing I do a lot is I have my camera sitting on the tripod, which I do right now. The cool thing about this is you can use opposing magnetic mounts, and I'm gonna flip the camera around here and show you this setup. I'm always struggling taking my camera on and off the tripod because thumb drive off, thumb drive on, put it on, the attachments, take it off, and it just adds a lot of time and trouble. Well, with 2 of these snap mounts, snap mount on my tripod, snap mount on the camera, just bang, I attach it and then you can just take it right off. Well, I'm gonna show you that setup in just a second. But I wanna walk through all of the different accessories you can possibly get. Like I said, this is their default action camera setup. I like it, and this is what I'm gonna demo here in a little bit. We're gonna put it on top of the car and take it for a drive. I wanna show you their media mod setup because one of the things I discovered, as you look at the little pin right here, they're often too short. So when you have the media mod for GoPro, which makes it bigger, you're like trying to jam this thing in or get your fingers in there to try to unscrew it. Well, I'll show you this here in a second. It's longer. So it sounds kind of trivial, but at the same time, it's really, really cool. Now, let me grab the other accessories. I want to show them to you. They're mat and plate setup, including the ability to put one of these magnetic holders onto glass. All right, so I want to talk through the rest of the accessories, but I tell you, there are a couple to me that really stand out because it shows that they've put a lot of thought and time into the design. This setup is probably one I'm going to be using a lot. Now, in all my projects, you're not going to see this because it's always going to be behind the camera, but I wanted to make sure to show it off. These are 2 different mounts, right? So this is the media mod mount here, so you can see with the longer drive on it, right? But it's also, I have another snap mount plate here attached to my tripod. And this is going to be fantastic because as I transition so much of my work between the tripod and a set fixed position to putting my camera underneath the car or in the engine bay and so on, I constantly have to be transferring back and forth, and it's really kind of a hassle. But in this case, I can just come right up, pull it right off. I've got an existing snap mount that I can put exactly right on and be good to go. When I'm ready to come back to my tripod, just snap it right back into place just like that. And it's really going to save me a lot of time and effort. So I want to show off the accessories, but this one in particular, and especially with the thought that they've put in when you have the media mod case and you need this longer drive, because if not, it's going to be too short. And I have this problem all the time where I'm fighting against the case and the length of the drive here, but it's long enough you can reach it on the outside to take it off. So what a great setup. Let me grab the other couple of accessories here really quick and show them to you. I also want to show you one of them on the car on how cool that is. And then we're going to take it for a drive and we're going to test to see how strong the magnets are. All right, y'all, so let's go and talk about the extra accessories you can get as well, because I think there are a couple of in here that really tend to stand out. Now, if you've got the mount loops on one of these, you can attach this to something very, very securely. But if you're worried that the magnets themselves aren't going to be strong enough to hold, like for example, maybe on your tripod, you have a very, very heavy camera or something similar, and you're worried that the magnets alone may not hold, you can get this locking mount as well. So it's got these locking fingers on it. That way you take another snap mount, put it on at a 45-degree angle, like that, and then just twist into place, and it will lock over. Now, there is no way that it's going to come off. Both magnets are held together, and these locking fingers will hold it into place as well. So then you don't have to have that strength concern, right, of the whole setup. You just simply take it off by just twisting 45 degrees again, and off you go. Now, one of the other things that I really like, and it's something really simple, but I'm going to be using this on my car all the time. I'm going to be using it in the engine bay, underneath. I'm going to be using it on the exterior of my car. Now, last thing I want to do is scratch or scrape my car up. And of course, one of the things I worried about in putting a magnet on the side of my car is my car's not always clean. It might scrape or do some damage. But they were really smart and put out a little shaped rubber mat. I really like this. And I'm going to show it here in just a second with a camera mount on it. You stick this on your car, stick the snap mount in between, and it's going to protect your car, which I think is a really great call. Now, the one other little accessory I wanted to show you is they have a plate that they have out too. Again, really simple. It's a metal plate, but there's adhesive on the back. So if you have a scenario where you potentially wanted to attach one of these semi-permanently with the adhesive, because you know you're always going to be using your camera in that place and it's not someplace magnetic, you can easily use the adhesive for this and stick that into place, and then you can mount your snap mount to it. Now, the one other thing you can do is that you can potentially use this through surfaces like glass. You can put this on one side, you put your snap mount on the other, and it'll potentially hold it into place. Now, keep in mind it's really going to depend on how thick the glass is and other scenarios like that, and how strong it's going to hold. I mean, further apart, weaker the connection, right? But this could even work as a transfer for that magnet in between, in and on surfaces that aren't inherently magnetic, but are thin enough, like plastic or glass or something similar. So really cool setup there as well. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the camera on the snap mount using the mat on the side of the car. And then I want to go out and I want to stress test one of these on the top of the car, and I want to take you with me. All right, so just as a reminder, I mean, the impetus and why I went out and started looking at different mounts for my GoPros is that I lost my camera off the side of my car at a driving event. That was a huge bummer. But I really think that this is going to be a great solution. So you just put the rubber mat on first and then just put the magnets down. As you can see, this is, and I'm applying a pretty considerable amount of side-to-side force, and it's stuck down really well. And in many ways, the rubber mat gives it additional traction as well, right? It gives you traction against the side of the car. And it does, I mean, I'm applying a pretty considerable amount of force, and it's not moving. This also gives me the ability to mount in any position where I can get to the metal, anywhere on the car. Obviously, I've got it on the side right now. You can mount it on the roof, which is what we're going to do when we take it out in a moment. But I really do like this setup, and I think this is going to be really cool. So let's go ahead and get this set up on the top of my car. Then we're going to go out for a drive, and we're going to see if we can make it come off. All right, so you can see my setup here as we're mounted to the roof line. I want to see how well this setup holds as we drive a little bit more enthusiastically when we think about using this setup for, say, a track day or something similar. But let's get down the road and see how well this holds. right, y'all, back in after driving, and as you can tell, it really did a fantastic job. It didn't move at all. I had some wide open throttle pulls, a little bit of crazy driving. I did some addition off camera as well of just really opening it up, and it didn't shift at all. So this gives me a tremendous amount of confidence, especially after I lost my camera mount there on a track day. I really don't have that concern now, and I think this is going to serve me very, very well in upcoming track days, driving days, and the like. Now, I also see using this a lot, and you're never going to see it, but I'm going to be underneath the car, and some of my other projects are in the engine bay, and I'm going to be able to just take my camera and stick it to a spot and get that perfect angle. Plus, it's going to free up my hands as I do the work. So I think this is going to be a fantastic tool to have in my camera bag, and I highly suggest you check it out as well. This could be exactly what you need, especially for your action camera. I'm using it in automotive, but I can see it in other places as well moving forward as I use my camera in different environments. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please click like and subscribe. It makes a huge difference to my channel, and I have a ton of content coming that I can't wait to show you. And I'll see you on my next project.